That last line chilled me. Don't talk to the bank. I called him. No answer. I called again. Still nothing. My hands shook as I scrolled through our chat history. Photos of the investor office, pictures of clients, and a supposed business license. But zoomed in, the details didn't make sense. A blurry address, a logo with mismatched fonts, an official seal that looked like it had been copy-pasted. My stomach dropped. Then I remembered. 2 nights ago, he'd asked me to scan my ID for verification. That wasn't investment paperwork. That was bait. The moment the realization hit, I felt Daisy nudge my knee, softly, like she sensed the panic building in me. Good girl, I whispered. You knew before I did. I didn't sleep. By morning, I'd filed a report with my bank and the police. The officer listened patiently, nodding at all the right moments, then asked one question that froze me in place. Did you ever meet this Michael in person? No, just video calls and texts. He scribbled something in his notebook. We've seen this pattern before. If you sent your ID, he might have tried to open credit accounts in your name. My heart skipped. You mean identity theft? He nodded. The room tilted. That check wasn't just fake, it was a setup. If I'd deposited it, the bank could have frozen my account or worse. My dream cafe would have been the least of my worries. As I hung up, Daisy barked once, sharp, alert, like she was claiming her victory. I sank to the floor, wrapping my arms around her. You saved me, didn't you? You actually saved me. For the first time in days, I laughed, a shaky, tear-soaked laugh. But the moment didn't last. My phone buzzed again. A message from Michael. You shouldn't have gone to the cops. The real game had just begun. That text sat on my screen like a curse. You shouldn't have gone to the cops. I stared at it for a long time, my pulse pounding in my ears. The old me, the one who panicked, who trusted too easily, would have cried, deleted the thread, and moved on. But that part of me was gone. I took a slow breath. Okay, Michael, I whispered. You want a game? I'll play it better. I didn't block him. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened a new notebook and wrote one word on the first page: reversal. Everything he used against me, trust, timing, fear, I'd use back on him. No screaming, no chaos. Just patience. Daisy rested her chin on my knee, calm now, like she knew the storm had changed direction. And she was right. I started with his business license. A quick reverse image search showed it belonged to a hotel in Nevada, completely unrelated. Next, the so-called investor emails. Each one was registered under throwaway domains, barely a few weeks old. He'd built a digital ghost town around me, but ghosts leave footprints. I remembered something small. In one of our calls, I'd seen a reflection behind him, a window, sunlight, and a faint blue sign that read, Quick Brew Cafe. A Google search later, there it was, a real cafe in Phoenix. I called. Hey, I said, voice light, does a Michael work there? Early 30s, brown hair, likes to talk about investments. The manager sighed. Yeah, he used to hang around pretending to be a business coach. We kicked him out last month. I smiled. That's all I needed to know. The first thread had been pulled. Revenge doesn't need noise, it needs timing. I created a new account under a different name. Same tone Michael had used with me. Friendly, ambitious, a little naive. I baited him with a fake business idea, something irresistible to a scammer. Within 2 days, he replied. You sound just like someone I used to work with. What kind of project are you building? I almost laughed. Someone you used to work with. Perfect. Every message he sent, I forwarded to the detective assigned to my case. I even set up a call, recorded, legal, clean. He didn't know he was walking into his own trap. That night, as I sat in the dark living room, Daisy asleep beside me, I felt calm for the first time in weeks. The fear was gone. The guilt had burned away. Now, it was just precision. It didn't take long for Michael to slip back into his old rhythm. Scammers are like actors who never stop performing. He couldn't resist showing off. If you trust me, He wrote, I can triple your investment in a week. I've done it before. I smiled at my screen. Oh really? You sound like you've helped a lot of people, I typed back. Could you show me proof? He sent me a photo, a familiar one. The same doctored check, the same fake signature, the same faint smudge in the corner. I leaned back, exhaling slowly. He was using my story to trap someone else. That's when I knew the timing was right. I told the detective, he's active again. You'll have everything you need by tomorrow. Daisy lay at my feet, tail wagging softly, as if she understood that this wasn't about money anymore. It was about closure. The next evening, we scheduled the sting. The officer would join the call silently, tracing his IP as I led him into one last investment pitch. When the call connected, his face filled the screen, same smug half-smile, same fake charm. Lauren, he said before catching himself. Then he laughed. Wow, didn't expect you to crawl back. My pulse quickened, but my voice stayed calm. Didn't expect me to find you either, did you? He blinked. What are you talking about? I tilted the camera just enough for him to see the detective's badge on the desk beside me. His smile faltered. Then he leaned forward, smirking. You think anyone will believe you? You're desperate. You sent me your ID, remember? You practically begged me to invest. For a moment, my hands trembled under the table. He was right about one thing, I had been desperate. But not anymore. I smiled. You're right, Michael, I did. Which means every word you said was recorded too. And then I ended the call. The morning after, my phone buzzed nonstop. The detective's voice came through first. We got him. He's been linked to 6 identity theft cases. I froze. 6. Your report helped connect them. You might have saved others from losing everything. I sat on the edge of my couch, hand over my mouth. Daisy jumped beside me, nudging my arm until I wrapped it around her. Relief washed through me, slow and deep. The kind that comes after weeks of sleepless nights. But the story wasn't done. A week later, I got a letter in the mail, from a woman in Arizona. She'd found my number through the investigator. Her message was simple. He tried the same scam on me. Your report stopped him before he got the chance. Thank you. That was the moment I realized revenge had transformed into something bigger, justice. And yet, the biggest twist was still waiting. 2 weeks later, I was pouring coffee at my friend's diner when I heard my name on the radio. A local woman's report helped authorities uncover a multi-state fraud ring. The alleged ringleader, Michael Rhodes, was arrested yesterday in Phoenix. The mug slipped from my hand and shattered against the tile. Every head in the diner turned, but all I heard was that name echoing in my chest. Michael Rhodes. They showed his photo online, the same smile that once charmed me, now plastered beside words like fraud, arrested, facing 12 counts of identity theft. My stomach twisted, not with fear, but disbelief. I thought about the night Daisy had torn that check, the way I'd screamed at her, how I almost punished the one being who truly protected me. I went home that evening and hugged her like she was the last piece of innocence left in the world. Thank you, I whispered into her fur. You didn't just save me, you saved who I was. 6 months passed before the settlement came through, compensation from the recovered funds and restitution from the investigation. It wasn't the full $20,000, but it was enough. This time, when I walked into the same bank, I wasn't trembling. I was ready. I signed the final papers, looked at the manager, and said, let's do this right. 3 months later, Maple and Mutt Cafe opened its doors. Yes, I named it after Daisy. She sat by the entrance every morning, wearing a tiny bandana that said Chief Security Officer. Customers loved her, and every time she wagged her tail at the door, I remembered that night, the ripped check, the broken dream, and the strange way fate had rebuilt it. I'd learned something vital. Sometimes, what feels like destruction is just redirection. But fate wasn't done yet. It arrived one humid afternoon in a plain white envelope, postmarked from a federal facility. I almost threw it away, until I saw the name at the bottom. Michael Rhodes. My pulse jumped. Inside was a single handwritten page. You probably think you won. Maybe you did. But I didn't target you by accident. You were referred to me by someone close to you. Someone who thought you'd be easy to use. The handwriting wavered, messy but confident. Check your emails from 6 months before we met. I dropped the letter. My mind raced. Who could've? That night, I scrolled through old messages, scanning for something, anything. And then I saw a forwarded email from an old coworker, Trent, the one who'd always mocked my business ideas, the one who'd said, "You're too trusting, Lauren." His name was right there, in the CC line of my first email with Michael. The betrayal wasn't just from a stranger. It started much closer to home. I didn't sleep that night. Trent's name burned in my head like a neon sign. He'd been my coworker, my supposed friend, the one who'd helped me draft the first investor email, who'd laughed when I told him my cafe dream might actually happen. And now, the puzzle snapped into place. He'd been the bridge between me and Michael. The next morning, I walked into his office. He looked up from his desk, flashing that same lazy grin. "Lauren, wow, didn't expect you here. I'm full of surprises," I said, smiling back. I placed the letter on his desk. Recognized the handwriting. His face went pale, then flushed deep red. "What is this? Some kind of joke?" "No joke," I said softly. "Just closure." He stood abruptly, stammering, "You can't prove anything." I tilted my head. That's what Michael said, too. And then I walked out, calm, deliberate, letting the silence crush him. Revenge doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes, it's an email sent at the perfect moment. That afternoon, I forwarded the letter, and Trent's old messages, to our company's HR and compliance team. Subject line: potential data breach and employee misconduct. No accusations. No dramatics. Just evidence. 2 days later, HR called. "Lauren, thank you for bringing this forward. We found communications between Trent and a known suspect in that fraud case. We'll handle it from here." Handle it, they did. By Friday, Trent's desk was empty. Word spread fast. He'd been caught selling client data to scammers. I didn't celebrate. I didn't even smile. I just looked at Daisy across the cafe floor and whispered, "Balance restored." A month later, the local news ran a small headline. "Former office analyst implicated in national fraud case." His name was there, Trent West. Right below it, in smaller print, a note that he was cooperating with authorities, a polite way of saying he'd traded his reputation for leniency. I watched the clip in silence, coffee in hand, Daisy asleep by the counter. For the first time, I felt peace. Not victory, not vengeance, just quiet peace. Because every person who had underestimated me, who'd mocked me, manipulated me, or called me naive, had fallen by their own arrogance. And I hadn't had to raise my voice once. 1 year later, Maple and Mutt Cafe was packed. There were people laughing at every table, Daisy greeting kids at the door, sunlight streaming through the windows. A local journalist had written an article about the cafe's story, from fraud to freedom, how a small-town woman turned betrayal into a dream. I pinned it on the wall by the register. Sometimes customers asked about the headline. I'd smile and say, "Let's just say, I had to lose a check to find my worth." Every morning before opening, I pour 2 cups of coffee, one for me, one for the memory of the woman I used to be. Then I scratch Daisy behind the ears and whisper, "You saved me, girl." Twice. The camera would fade on that image, soft morning light, the hum of the cafe, and a woman who learned that not every loss is a tragedy. Some are just the universe's way of saying, "You were meant for something stronger." Moral: sometimes the people who try to break you are the same ones who build your backbone. And sometimes, the thing that ruins your plans is the thing that saves your life.